Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is your man Roy coming at you with another Marvel Contest of Champions video. So if you've been following the channel up till now, you'll know that we're slightly diverting from the normal style of videos with a champion overview, and we're now going to be looking at some of the Act 5 completion routes that we can use lower ranked or lower level rank 5 champions and 4-star champions, to give you an idea about the types of champions that can be used. Maybe not necessarily god tier and above champions that are currently in use, but some of the more collectible champions, the ones you're more likely to get out of your crystal pools in terms of their usefulness and their ability to do the job. Now, where possible, I will be explaining champions that I personally used to do these completion runs as far as I can remember, so it can be done without the niche champions, because at the point of me going through Act 5 completion, I didn't have really any of the god tier champions at the time, so I was making use of other champions to get the job done. Some of them were long fights, but they got me through Act 5, they got me uncollected, and eventually even Cavalier. So it can be done, guys, it can be done with lesser known or forgotten about champions, and that's the point of this video. So this video is going to cover Act 5 Chapter 1, and we're going to be looking at Quest 1 and 2 in this particular video. So let's bring up Act 5, Chapter 1, and let's look at 1 and 2. So the first one that we've got, don't disregard the team there, it doesn't really matter too much, because we'll just be discussing in this video about the champions that can be used and the paths to take, and I'll upload separate play-by-play videos later on for each of the quests. So going into Act 5, there's always a global node, and they kind of chop and change between the odd number quests and the even number quests. So the global nodes for this one is that we've got Flare, Champion Boost, Health, and Third Special Attack. So Flare, the opponent gains 300% attack, but gains 100% of their max health as direct damage over 60 seconds. The strength of the damage is affected by class relationships. So we gain massive damage while we play through this quest, but we're going to take damage depending on class relationships. So if you're at class disadvantage, you'll degen 100% health over 30 seconds, or if you're bringing a class advantage champion in, you're only going to degen 50% of your health. So for Flare, my strategy is to bring a good mixture of champions, preview the quest in advance, and have a look and see, making sure you've got the class advantage so you're going to take less health degen. Okay, now we've only got two paths that we can start off with on this quest, Guillotine or War Machine. Now all of the suggestions in these videos are my personal opinions. You can agree with them or disagree with them. If you've got champions that are good counters to the champions on other paths, then feel free. The ideas that I'm going to give you here are just my personal opinion for the easiest all-round path. So really for me, the first path would be Guillotine. So she's got energy resistance, and she's more likely to activate special attack 2. Now all of Guillotine's special 1, special 2 attacks, they are melee, so they're easily dodgeable or evadable by staying at a distance. There's no range attacks, so for me Guillotine is an easy hit. And then we're going to come up to Gambit here. Now Gambit is a bit more troublesome since his buff, so he gains his charges a lot quicker, but again, if we've got the basics down of dexing, blocking and parrying, then Gambit shouldn't really cause you too much trouble. And then I would take the Dr. Voodoo path. So you'll see there's no specific local nodes, so it's just the Flare that we're up against on this path. So Dr. Voodoo can be a bit annoying if you're not used to playing him, so if in doubt, go into the duels, learn his fighting style, learn the timing of his special animation so you can get dodge in that special 1 and even special 2 if you get up that far. Cap America World War II, nothing really to write home about for that, it should be a fairly easy fight. And then we're going to come across the Scarlet Witch. Now Scarlet Witch, I would say, is one of the big bugbears on this path. If you're bringing a champion that deals critical damage, then you're more likely to trigger her debuffs and her abilities, one of which being poison, which can hit quite hard. So if you have a poison immune champion, I would suggest bringing it along. But Guardian works really well for Scarlet Witch because he doesn't naturally crit any damage at all. When he's expecting a crit hit, he deals additional shot damage. So you can bring Guardian into this fight safe in the knowledge that you're never going to trigger her abilities. It's just a special 1 and special 2 that you need to watch out for. So would be my pick, and a very good choice for this path. Civil Warrior, since his buff again can be quite tricky. He can build up the Furies if he's dashing back and got armour, so it's just something to watch. That the animations have stayed the same, but his abilities have changed slightly. So if you're used to fighting the old Civil Warrior, I would go into Duo and have a little refresh in terms of his abilities, and just make sure you know what you're up against. X23 Venom Pool Howard the Duck, again not too much difficulty there. Again, you can bring in a bleed immune champion if you want, if you're not too good at dodging X23's attacks. Venom Pool as well, again he does bleed damage, and if you've got a buff he'll regen. So again, you can bring in a non-buff reliant champion or somebody that's just immune to bleed. And Howard, again you want ideally an armor break champion just to get rid of those armors. But again, just get used to dodging that special 1. Try not to let him get up to special 2 because it does hit quite hard. And then really for me, the pain in the arse champion on this path is Nightcrawler. For anyone that's not fought him, his evade is just stupid. Ideally you want to bring in a bleed immune champion or someone that shuts down passive evade, because he can deal extra bleed damage based on his attacks, and it can hit quite deeply. So yeah, Nightcrawler is a pain in the backside, so it's just one to watch. Ideally you want your stun mastery up maximum to get the longest duration. You want to stun, 3-hit combo, rinse and repeat, which should be enough if you don't have someone that can shut down the passive evade. And then once you're past that path, then you're into Falcon, and again Falcon has had a recent buff which makes him just a little bit more annoying. Don't try and dodge a special 1. I don't know if it can actually be done. If not, if it can be, then the timing is seriously hard to get hold of, but it shouldn't be too bad. Local node, he's got 100% attack and bleed abilities are more effective, and the bleed effects come off of the special 1, so just make sure you don't get hit by that. And then we're at Kang. And really, Kang, nothing really to write home about. He's pretty okay. Just again, special 1, it's similar to Iron Man, original or superior Iron Man with the laser beam attack. If you know it's coming, easily evadable, and you're good to go. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Champions to use, I mean there is a few to use. I personally use She-Hulk in this quest. She does hit hard. Her special 2 can reset any regeneration, so with champions like Doc Voodoo, if you can get up to special 2 before it counteracts, X23 can shut down their healing, and she's really great for Nightcrawler with those heavy attacks, putting a slow on, which basically stops them passively evading, so it just then becomes a normal fight of dodging the special attacks. So She-Hulk for me, really good. Storm I had in my party at this point. Awaken, because her special damage is just off the chart if it hits a crit hit, and they are high enough with power. Guardian, as I said, really good counter for Scarlet Witch. Great champion in general, but definitely as a counter to Scarlet Witch. And for me, Star-Lord I had as a max 4-star at this point, and this is after his 400 hit damage limit, but he still hits like a freight train, guys. You know, once you get a couple of hits into that combo meter, he's hitting Fury, he's hitting high damage crits, the guy is an absolute beast. So personally, those are my 4 recommendations to have in your party at this point. Again, making sure you've got that diverse class range so that you can bring in a class advantage champion in most, if not all, fights to minimise that damage that you're going to take from the degen on the global node. So that's 5-1-1. So let's go back and let's have a look at 5-1-2. So the first couple of quests in Act 5 are relatively okay. So the issue that we've got with this one, the global node, is breakthrough. And this is where the champion starts with 5,000 armor rating increase, but every hit reduces their armor by 200. So it's going to take you, what's that, 25 hits or so. 25 hits to bring their armor down to nothing, but you carry on applying the armor break for each hit. So after the 25 hits, they're just going to become more and more vulnerable, more and more damage increase. So ideally with this you want multi-combo special attacks, you want multi-hit heavy attacks, and just someone that can stay the distance, you know, even with high damage, high armor themselves, so that if you do get clapped, then you've got that backup. So for this one, we start off in the first fight as Gwenpool. Again, easily evadable special 1, bring in a bleed immune champion if you are worried about getting hit. And then after that, I would suggest the left hand side path. Let's see where this goes. So this brings us up here. Now, really the path is dependent on who you've got in your roster. So again, if you've got the She-Hulk, she's really good for this path with Nightcrawler and Unstoppable Colossus, because her heavy attack with slow just completely shuts it down. Red Guardian again is good because the special 1 puts a slow on that can be reapplied on heavy hits. So it really does depend on who you've got in your roster. So if you've got a champion that can apply slow, I would probably suggest going the Nightcrawler path, but if not, I would take the Guillotine path. So combat power rate increase and bleed effective abilities are more effective, so again, just watching that power gain from hits that you're putting in, and just watching to make sure you don't get hit from her special attacks, because they'll apply heavy bleed damage. If we're going this path, then we come down here, and then I would take the Captain America path, because that's Spider-Man guys, and then Punisher, buffed up Colossus since I completed it, are just pain in the backside. So definitely Cap America World War II, not much to write home about. Again, he does have parry, so you're just watching to make sure he doesn't get a block on you, because if you've ever seen the block animation, yeah, pretty much every time you strike in the block, you're possibly going to get parried. So Cap America, nothing to write home about. War Machine would be the only kind of difficulty I can see in this path. Again, try and push him to special 2, go into duels, get used to dodging that special 2 with a rocket, but under no circumstances push War Machine after he launches a special attack, because he recovers very quickly, you won't have enough time, and you're just going to end up getting clapped. Gambit again, if we've went the first path in 5-1-1 and you've taken the Gambit out, shouldn't be an issue. And then we come up, Howard the Duck, again just baiting out that special 1 attack, just learning the timing just to dodge it, should be a breeze. And then Moon Knight. Moon Knight in himself is okay depending on the phase of the moon. Now, you're not going to look up the phase of the moon before you go into the fight. I don't know, some people might, I don't know. I personally don't. But what you're going to watch is, if he's at full moon, and then you're going to have reduced power gain, he's going to have increased evade. His evades are probably the more annoying part of his repertoire. Again, if you don't know the timings of the special 1 with the projectiles, just block them. You want to ideally push into special 2, it's a melee staff flick and jump up and slam down. So again, special attack 2 should be no problem at all. Champions for this path, again, She-Hulk if you want to take the Nightcrawler and Unstoppable Colossus path. Red Guardian assists with that as well. In terms of champions, just to get the armour breakdown really quickly, Medusa is an absolute beauty for this one. Launch a special 2 and you're pretty much going to have that armour down to a 0 rating in no time at all. Winter Soldier for me really done the business on this path with a special 2. Not only can he apply the damage over time bleeds, you know, from the special attacks, being able to ignore armour, you know, apply an incinerate. If you've got him awakened, has the possibility of a power drain as well. So Winter Soldier I had, I think, 5-star rank 2, maybe 5-star rank 3 at this point, and he's really good, guys. So if you do have a Winter Soldier, don't underestimate his ability within this path, because most, if not all, the champions are bleed immune, and that special 2 just helps bring that armour rating down just so quickly. So that's 5, 1, 2 completed as well. For the hints and tips and champions that you can bring in the pass to take. Again, as mentioned at the start of the video, these are my personal opinions based on what I have experienced going through these quests. So if you did like the video, guys, make sure and hit the thumbs up, drop a comment below if you've got anything you want to add in, even drop a note in to say what champions you yourself have used in order to help others, or any pitfalls that you're finding with the pass, and make sure and subscribe to the channel and you'll know when these new videos are going live for the next hints, tips and tricks guide, or the play-by-play walkthrough that we'll do for each of the easy paths with the requisite champions. So thanks very much for watching, guys, all the best, take care, and we'll speak to you soon.